everyone. This is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and we are Real Dead. And Josh and I both earlier today, within the last couple hours, just got through seeing Josh. What?
A Quiet Place, day one.
Day one.
This was an anticipated movie for me. I really enjoyed the other two Quiet Place movies. This movie is a little different where you are seeing it from the start. The other movies, I think the first movie took place like 89 days in, something like that. Then the second movie was further out than that. So it's like, okay, we get to see how things fell, what happened, how the government tried to handle this, stuff like that. And this takes place in a major city. And it tells you New York constantly, the loudness is a constant. It's like basically the loudness of a constant scream. That's what kind of noise you have in New York City. Basically, I think all the time. And I don't know about all the time. I was in New York City earlier this year, so I can vouch. Yes, it is very loud. We were in a hotel room. We were 30 stories up. You can hear the horns. You can hear. I mean, it's loud there. No doubt about that.
So, Josh, are we doing the first half of this spoiler free and then jumping into spoilers, or are we just going straight into spoilers?
No,
okay.
We'll do it spoiler free.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I watched the first. I've seen the first two, but it's been a few years. So I went back last night, and watched number one, watched half of number two. It was about midnight, too late for me. Got back up this morning, finished watching the second half, number two. They were both really good in my opinion. Then we went and watched this one today. So I was like, bam, 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 and then watched this one. So kind of everything was refreshed or freshened up again. So I was really excited about this. The trailers for these movies have been great for this one right here coming in. The actors are great.
Yeah, really good acting. I don't think the trailers gave away. Well, the trailers that I saw didn't give away too much. I didn't think. I mean, you kind of know going into it what's it going to be because you already have it set up because you've seen the other movies. You know what this movie's going to be about. You know what I mean? For the most part. And I think they did a good job with it, in my opinion. Yeah, look at this rating right here, Mike.
Yeah, it's only been out a day, so this is going to fluctuate up and down. It is PG-13. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It's considered horror, sci-fi, mystery, and thriller. 84 from the critics, 73 from the audience. Me and Josh probably will disagree. I'll tell you up front, we're probably going to disagree on this one, and that's okay. It's just like politics. It's okay to disagree. You just don't lose friendships over it, right? So, there's some things we'll agree and there's some things we'll disagree on this. But I will say this, the acting in this movie is great.
Yep. The two main actors, phenomenal.
Yep. And you have the lady that was in Us. Here they are. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name. Is it Lupita?
Yeah, I think so.
She plays Sam in the character. Michael Sarnowski is a new director. So that's a new for this. You can tell he put his fingerprint on this movie. Joseph Quinn, who was in Stranger Things, is great.
Yeah.
And Jamon Hansu, I probably butchered that as well. He was in number two, and he plays a part in this one as well. So
he has a lot of good. He has a lot of bit parts in a lot of different movies.
He's been in a lot of movies.
He's always really good. I think you said you had a complaint about him not being in this movie enough or something. I don't think that's a spoiler, but.
I would like to have seen him a little more. Yeah.
And you've seen the second movie, I would imagine, if you're watching this. So, he's in the second movie, obviously. So, I thought, like I said, overall, I think the story was good. I think there were a couple of dumb decisions by the characters, in my opinion, once you already know that these things move by sound, which they did. They knew that really early in this movie, in my opinion. They knew what triggered these aliens, and they still did stupid stuff. Like not a main character, but you saw an idiot dragging a freaking suitcase down the street. Like, dude, drop it! You look like Mike Loveless on the first day of the ship, and drop it. So it's like. And they were wheeling people in a wheelchair. I understand someone can't walk, but that wheelchair is making all kinds of noises on that road. you dead. Sorry, man. Some people just aren't meant to make it in situations like that, Mike. It's just the way it is. So,
you got to remember it's day one, supposedly.
yeah.
Some people are learning by mistakes and seeing other people massively killed
and they
off.
paid
So.
and they paid for those mistakes. That's no doubt about that. But yeah, I thought the special effects were good. Yes, I can't. There's not a lot of bad I can say about this movie, in my opinion. Like I said, some of the choices the characters made. I think some of the stuff with there's a cat that's a main character in this movie. Some of that was a little unrealistic, but I liked it. I do. I like cats. I enjoyed it. Some of it wasn't unrealistic. But for the most part, I liked the story. I thought it was good. I really enjoyed the ending of this movie, to tell you the truth. So, yep. And we know from previous movies, if you watched them, these things can't swim, and they make that apparent in this movie as well. Like, this is a weakness to these monsters, water. So they make that apparent as well. So, Mike, anything else you want to say, or do you want to say before we give our rating?
This is the spoiler-free part of it, so I'm going to just say this thing, in my opinion, you could kind of take. In my opinion, this is my opinion. This is probably opposite of what Josh thinks. You can take the horror out of this. This is more of a science fiction, and that's okay because Godzilla and King Kong, in my opinion, is that way as well.
Right.
More science fiction, heavy on the drama, in my opinion. The storyline in this one. Now, Godzilla -1's that way. Josh, if you love this movie, I think you would absolutely be head over heels in love with Godzilla -1, which I was a big fan of. And I knew that going into that, I'd heard that. This one did not answer a lot of questions I had in this movie. I'll leave it at that so you can listen to the spoiler part. Questions I thought would be answered. Josh has brought up that maybe I went into it with a misunderstanding of I would have those answered.
Yeah,
but since it's called Day One, I thought you would find out a little bit more about Day One stuff. I didn't feel like this movie answered anything, didn't do anything that the first two didn't already let me know, except for maybe one thing. And then the spoiler part, we'll kind of talk about that.
Right.
But
so what's your rating, Mike?
All right. So if I was going to give this a 1 out of 10, I would probably give this a 6.5. It, in my opinion, is a little bit long, a little bit slow starting out. There's a part in this movie that just cranks up for next 10, 15 minutes. It's wide open. Then it gets slow again. So I would give it probably a 6.5.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say, I'll say 7. I'll give it a 7. I really enjoyed it. My wife said she thought it was a bit slow. I think the other two movies have slow parts too. I mean, I think it's just part of this movie. I don't think the other two movies was necessarily horror either. Maybe the first one had more like suspense because you just didn't know about these monsters. By this movie, we know what it looks like. We know the weaknesses. We know all that. In the first movie, we didn't know any of that. So, I thought they did a good job with new characters, and I look forward to maybe seeing what's going on with those characters in the future. So, yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go into the spoiler section. So, I'll flash up in editing of this. Spoilers.
Yes,
are happening right now. So, Josh, tell us what some spoilers, man. What did you like? What did you dislike?
Okay, so the spoiler is the main guy who was Eddie in Stranger Things. Well, his name was Eric in the movie. He was a cool character. I didn't mind, but then all of a sudden he just came out of water in the subway. I don't really know. Like, was he down in the subway when it flooded and he like swam up before he drowned it? I don't know.
He kind of came in a little late, in my opinion, too. I mean, he came in probably after the show. It was on for about 30, 45 minutes.
Well, because he wasn't the main focus of this movie, Mike. It was the other lady, Sam, who's the main character of this movie. He's not the main focus. So that's why he wasn't, in the beginning of this movie, in my opinion. He's not the main focus of the movie. He's a main character / supporting character. He becomes more of a main character, but he wasn't the main story of this movie. You can tell that by the ending of this movie. He's not the main character. He might be a main character later on because, spoilers, of course, we said it. The main character, Sam, sacrifices herself in this movie. She actually distracts the monster so he can get away with her cat because she has cancer in this movie. She's dying. And it's like, and she knows in this world, there's no saving her. She's not going to be living, and she can't get the medicine she needs. Well, it's not medicine. It's just it's a painkiller. That's what she was taking.
Mm-hmm.
So she was in hospice. So she's already like she's already headed that way. But so, that's what I like about it. And then I like that she got to do the things that she wanted to do before she died. Also watching the movie, I forgot this actually takes place in the past until I saw that old iPod that she has. Did you see that, Mike? I was like, oh crap, this takes place in like 2009 or 2008 or something. I can't remember the exact date, but I was like, oh yeah, everybody didn't have smartphones then yet. Like smartphones were still really new. So yeah. But yeah, I really liked the story. I like that. And she ends up, walking down the street, listening to this music, and she's like basically in pain. She got to see a picture of her and her father. She like reflected on that and listened to some music and headphones, walked down the street, unplugged it, played music loud, and all of a sudden you see the thing drop and it cuts to black. So you assume she dies because she's like sacrificing herself because she's like, I don't want to live like this any longer, which is totally understandable when you're already terminally ill, and it's not like these creatures eat anybody. They basically just thrash you around till you're dead. That's all they do.
That was a question me and my wife had, because there's a scene, and this is a spoiler part. There's a scene in the movie towards 3/4, 4/5 of the way through the movie where I think his name's Eric, whatever it was, him and the cat are on these beams, and he sees all these pods around. So I kind of thought it was like aliens, like where they were going to be born or something. But is that a food source? Like it's like a planting field, because they open the pods up and they all come over and it looks like they're eating out of it.
Yeah, they were. And you notice the cat was like licking it too. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's at a food source, and down the road, is that supposed to be why they came to the earth, is to plant food or use the resources of the earth so they can eat? Because I've never really seen them eat. And I know it's PG-13. I've seen them come through and swoop people up and go off with them, but I've never seen them eat them or suck their blood or anything else like that.
No.
So that was something that me and my wife and my son were asking, was like, do they eat people? Do they suck their blood?
No.
Or they just kill them or what? I mean, nobody really sees anything.
Well, but I think if you went into that movie thinking you were going to get that answer, I think you were just thinking.
No, that wasn't a question I had to see.
Oh, I was like, listen. I mean, we saw it get close to a human that was dead, and it basically hit it like, are you alive? Like, because I don't know, but it doesn't have eyes. It doesn't know. It doesn't have eyes. Mm-hmm. All it does is hear. It's like a bat. It's like a bat with like extreme hearing. It could hear, and it goes towards it. And whatever making noise, it just wants to stop that noise. That's what it's about. The water's the weakness. You can kill it, but it has to open up its face, and that's the weak part. But yeah, like I said, I really like the story. The main character, Sam, portrayed by what was the name? What was her name?
I think her name's, is it Lupita? I'm butchering. I'm
sorry,
sure.
We don't know if we're
Lupita. Lupita. I'm probably butchering the heck out of that. But
right, we probably are. But yeah, she did a great job in this movie. I liked her better in this than I did Us. So yeah, I mean, some of the cat stuff's a little problematic, where it basically lives no matter what. The cat never meows. Are you kidding me? I lived with 3 cats at one point in time. One didn't meow that much, but the other 2 meowed a bunch. So I'm like,
also, cats hate what? What do they hate?
Water.
How many times does this cat get in the water and the next thing you see it's dry? It's completely dry. It never was soaking wet. It never.
Yeah,
it's unrealistic.
Wait a minute. No, when it got out of the water, dude, it was all wet and disheveled, dude. When it got out of that,
didn't look that way to me. But the whole cat thing was just it. had a bell on it making noises. It never meowed.
It did not have a bell on it.
It had a bell on at the beginning when it made the ringing noise and the girl grabbed it to quieten it down.
It hit like a hat or something that had a bell on it. It didn't have a bell on it.
Josh. Okay, I guess you're going to be right on this one.
Your eyesight, Mike.
This is the problem with the movie, Josh. You could take the story out about the girl with cancer and put it in any drama movie, and it's okay. It's a drama movie. It doesn't have anything to do with these aliens on day one. She's sacrificing herself. She already knows she's dying. Right. Whereas like in the previous one, the father was giving up his life for his kids. It's a family. This lady, she's already dying anyway. She's giving it up. I mean, the whole storyline, you could take it and just put it in a drama movie separate from this. So really all it's done is set this up for, it feels like a money grabber to me. Like the guy, Eric, future movies on the island, you see part 3, they're going to come out with it. He's going to be the main character, I guess. Also, I feel like they did a disservice to the main guy who died in part 2. You didn't hear enough about him as his story, his backstory.
But he wasn't a main character in this, Mike.
He was in part 2 though, and he was the one that set the island up and set the music and the song up for everybody, for the family to come there to the island. He's the main character. He was the one that told the story about being on the island in part 2.
I know, but
you don't know enough about his backstory.
I do like that character, but why do we need to know his backstory?
Why do we need to know about this cancer patient that's dying that has nothing to do with this story?
Because it wanted to focus on new characters, Mike. It didn't want to go, if it wanted to retread, it would have had the family in it.
She's died off. She's not. So what is her legacy? Is this guy? Is Eric going to be the new legacy going forward? Eric
That's right. That's right.
So maybe that's the legacy is going to be Eric, because he's going to be the new Krasnak or whatever his name was going forward. Maybe that's how they're going to go with this down the road.
Sure.
I really thought they would somehow bring out why these aliens are attacking the Earth. Everything that you already know about. Nothing was answered in this, in my opinion. This is what bothered me about the movie. We already knew about the water being loud. That was with the waterfall in number 2. You already knew about the rain. And if it rains, you can talk and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they were learning it all.
You already knew about the screeching and yelling when there's, loud noises around. So there was nothing answered at all. The only thing you saw was a helicopter flying by saying, "Be quiet."
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing you saw. There was no answer like you did hear it say we are being attacked.
So for there to be answers, you would have had to have this movie partly take place in like a government building or something, Mike. It could, and that wouldn't make any sense to me. So like you can't get those answers from the people that we were following in this movie.
Right. So this thing, in my opinion, was called Day One. I want to see what the day one answers were, not a day one drama.
There's no answers.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. You were fine with it. You were fine with the drama about it. That's me. That's my problem with the whole storyline. It was
I think you went into this
too much focus
you were
of a drama.
Some kind of I mean, if you went into this movie, did any of the trailers lead you on to think that you were going to get a bunch of answers in this movie? Because I don't think it did.
Well, I saw the bombs going on and the helicopters coming over. So, yeah, I thought, well, hey, there's a big war coming on between the government and the aliens coming in. So, yeah, I'm going to get a little bit of answers on that.
They were containing them. So they were blowing up bridges and stuff like that. I mean, that's just normal. They did that in like zombie movies and stuff. Like that one with Will Smith, I Am Legend. They did that same crap in that movie. So, I mean, it's just like that's just protocol to contain stuff to the island. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just how I feel. It's just if there's an invasion like that, that's protocol. You see it in like all different kinds of movies. So I didn't need any answers because I already knew that that's normal protocol in these kind of movies. But
so if it's just normal protocol, then what's the answer with Eric down the road?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think Eric's going to have any answers. I mean, he's not in the government. He doesn't have any other knowledge. You know what I mean?
So
He's just a guy that
but what was the purpose of her saving him if he's not the future of the savior? I mean, what's
because he could live. She wasn't going to live. She knew her time was very limited. She was going to be dead who knows how long without any treatment or any, you know what I mean? I mean, she knew
right?
that. So she's like, well, I might as well, you know.
This
I
is
mean, after that, she went and looked at a picture of her and her father together when she was a child. I thought that was a great moment in the movie.
yeah. I actually had more tears in this movie than I did laughs or anything because it was a touching movie. It really
Yes,
was.
it was.
I do feel like the very end they kind of and just listen. I'm not a writer, but when I was talking to Michelle about it, she agreed with it. I thought what it would have been really cool was if she would have went back and at the very end of it, she's playing a song and then she just pulls the plug out and then the thing drops down. The creature drops down behind her, and you probably figure he's going to finish her off. What I would love to have seen is her sit down at that piano and start playing, like trying to play a song that her dad played. And it would have ended like that. That to me would have just been like, man, that was awesome. She's sitting at the same place she was trying to get to the whole time. And she's playing a song maybe that her dad was playing on the piano and she just boom went out. But either way, it's fine.
The one thing I liked about it too was it didn't try to force a romance. Like
yeah, because you could see where somebody would be like, "Oh, you're trying to force that on there." I mean, he knew she was terminally dying, and he had the anxiety, and she knew he was suffering from anxiety. And that's why she wanted him to take the cat.
Yes,
to help him as like a service animal. So I mean, that was a great relationship between them too. I don't have a problem with that. I just, for me, it was just a little bit too much drama for me. That's just me. I'm not sure a lot of people, this is kind of one of those crossover films that a lot of people, like I said, my wife loved it. My son, who's 13, loved it.
I mean, Michelle jumped, I think, twice in this movie. So don't say it doesn't have any scares, Mike, because it does. Has some jump scares.
Well, we watched it in IMAX, and it was extremely loud. And there was a lot of sound jump scares, too, that happened right before the actual alien jumps out or something like that. So it's if you see it in IMAX, it's going to be loud. I promise you that.
Okay. Well, Mike, we better get going, man. This is
all right. 22 minutes in here. Tell us. Listen, me and Josh a little bit disagreeing on this one. That's okay. All right, don't get hurt over it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you went and seen this yet? Do you agree with Josh? Do you agree with Mike? Do you like it? Did you not like it? Too much drama? Not enough drama? Thumbs up, thumbs down, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10. What's your thoughts on it?
Okay.
Josh, have a good one, man. Please like, comment, subscribe. Also hook us up on Facebook on Real Dead Horror Community.
Yes.
Have a good one, Josh.
Bye.
Bye.